exquisite light of creation. Innocence, beauty, the innocence and beauty that is not recognized when confused by an identity. This journey of love is a journey that is your only purpose. And even though there really is no journey, because there is such a invested belief in separation, the journey is used to return to love. Every beloved in awakening realizes and recognizes, oh, there was no journey. There was nothing to do. But while the belief of separation clings to you and you cling to it, the relationship to willingness, to surrender, to acceptance are the doorways to awakening the heart, to awakening the awareness of one heart, one life, one love. Every beloved has this exquisite opportunity in this lifetime as well as in all past lifetimes to hear the call of love and to change direction and to begin the grateful journey to remembering. Most of humanity believes that it has different purposes. Most of humanity is enthralled with survival and enthralled with being right and enthralled with battle. When you believe in survival, everything becomes a battle. When you believe you can be hurt, when you believe that you can be altered from the complete light of God that you truly are, you build a defense system and you put your faith and trust in that defense system. For most of humanity, in the unconscious sleep state, there isn't even an awareness that there is a defense system. It just seems normal, accurate, justified. But as the call to love sparks the heart's yes, and as the divine alchemy of love's healing is accepted, layer by layer, you have the opportunity of recognizing all the pain, all the belief in suffering really comes from the defense system that has been built. In the belief of death, in the belief that you are a body, in the belief that you are your past, damaged, compromised by circumstance, not recognizing that all the circumstance came from the mind of separation. The leap of faith to surrender is every moment, and every day is that exquisite opportunity of devotion, of obedience to love, and of the humility to accept that what your senses tell you is not the truth. And you begin the journey of relinquishing the knowing and trusting in the senses. Relinquishing the senses into the hands of God until you're free. Free from the false knowing that has been established in the belief of separation. Free. With an open heart. And the disappearance of the universe that you made in the belief of being alone, different, separate. The power of the true universe of love has no limitation in the service of love. Healing is there for the asking, but love waits on the welcome. Moment by moment, asking for help, deferring to the divine teachings rather than stepping in front of teachings with knowing and determination to be right, and the willingness to deeply forgive all of the false identities that have been conjured up to prove aloneness. Happy to be the happy learner, happy and grateful to be on the road of remembering, happy and grateful that you weren't right about what you thought you knew. Happy and grateful to let the past fall away. And recognizing that it never really existed at all. And as you journey into remembering, you bring all beloveds with you, because they are one with you. There is no separate other. And in this moment of that happiness, of that gratitude, being grateful to be able to breathe deeply and fully, moment to moment, letting the rhythm of sacred breath fill your senses and be returned to God. Breathing the sacred breath, finding the rhythm of the divine, allowing that divine pulse of love to be filled with awareness within your energy bodies. Breathing and resting. The refusal to breathe deeply and fully is the fear of connection. When you refuse or you hesitate and shy away from deep breath, it is under the unconscious intention that you will be able to control your world. And when you breathe deeply and fully, you are saying, yes, let me open this heart. Let all the energy bodies open and rejoin the divine energy of love with every beloved, with all matter, and all of the forms begin to fade away. And the brilliance of love reveals itself more and more. Breathing and allowing. I will follow. I will follow. Inviting the sacred breath of God to flow through the energy bodies. And as you breathe, inviting in the breath of God, no longer wanting to hold everything in protection and defense. Breathing into the heart. And as you breathe into the heart, consciously bringing the heart forward, open, unreserved, and affirming there is no need for protection. Trusting in love, trusting in the power of God. And recognizing and accepting, I am the light of God. I am the wholeness of God. I am one in God. And breathing. Allowing. Accepting. And as you breathe, affirming. And entering into the holy union of love, that here in the infinite circle of love we are one. Opening your heart in this circle, this divine sphere of love with no ending and no beginning, where all life lives as the embodiment of God. And continuing to breathe and affirming that this universe is all love. Nothing else exists. Everything that has been held in the belief system of separation is now being called to disappear, to let it melt away. No longer willing to be a prisoner of a self-concept. And affirming in this moment, this sanctuary is filled with love. Love is all that exists. Embracing and inviting the blessings of love. And affirming there is only one presence here. It is the life force of God. And within this life force we live and move and breathe as one. One heart in complete perfection. Breathing, allowing, accepting. How simple is the journey of love, to accept every sacred teaching and repudiate all beliefs of the past. Prayer is a gift, the prayer of love, the prayer of bringing the mind out of its trance and opening the doors and windows to conscious choice. Allow prayer to fill your heart with inspiration, with strength. Allow prayer, communion through prayer, to open in the recognition of what you truly want and where your devotion is every moment. Oh, my Father, give me strength, give me courage on this road, to be a child of yours on earth and tread the path the Masters showed. Oh, my Mother, help me love, give me comfort to be aware, To obey these sacred teachings, it was your Son who showed the way. O my Master, your compassion can see through our pain, for it was you who came to earth to release us from these chains. O my Father, I am yours, give me comfort to be aware. Send your angels here to guide me on this sacred path of the sun. O my Father and my Mother, who rule the world of love, send your angels to receive me through the gateway of pure love. In your everyday prayers, you call on the power of love to transform. And at the same time, you acknowledge the mistaken identities that have been running, and you surrender those into the hands of God. You cleanse your heart and cleanse your mind, cleanse your emotional body of the distortions that have been held in the mind in the belief of separation, and ask for the strength and the courage of love to walk the way of love, and to refuse to accept the temptations of battle, to refuse to accept the temptations of judgment, all the while saying, yes, I will follow. The acceptance of your light is the journey. The relinquishment of the lies and the acceptance of the light. The acceptance to live in your heart and affirm the truth as God is aware of your beauty and perfection. I am life. I am the light. I am the pure and eternal love. I am even the doorway that leads back to God. I am here. I am there. Wherever there are beloveds gathered in the name of love, I am there. In the name of God, I say yes. I am the light. I am the torchbearer. I am the light of God in every moment. I am the child. I am the Father. I am the Spirit of love. I am love itself. In this divine acceptance, how could there be a battle? In this divine acceptance, how could there be a problem? In the divine acceptance, how could there be an enemy? It wouldn't be possible. Sou a vida, sou o caminho, eu sou o puro eterno amor. Sou a chave da porta estreita que vos leva de volta ao Senhor. Estou aqui, eu estou lá, eu estou sempre em todo lugar. Onde estiver irmãos reunidos em meu nome, eu ali estou. Sou a luz, sou o teu cheiro, eu sou o mestre ensinador. Sou Filho, sou Pai, sou Espírito Santo, e sou vosso Redentor. the ease of yes. Who is living next door? Who is really living next door to you? To what extent do you know the answer? Have you even questioned and asked? Who is this magnificent beloved that is living next door? Who is this beloved in the grocery store that is behind me or in front? Am I recognizing the divine or someone to get something from? Get them to notice something about me? Getting someone to notice something special, important? Or am I willing to see the Christ, the light, the beauty of every beloved? Who is really living next door? To what extent are you aware of the answer? And therefore called to keep remembering and grateful for their presence. You have heard about God being indivisible. Is that just a rumor? One that you can parse and make into a answer that you like better than everything being of oneness? Is there a difference between God and existence? Still, most live as if there are many in town, because slowly we learn. Some ingredient to solving this vital equation may be missing. It could be the loving touch of someone who knows the truth. Someone who knows the truth and lives it the way my master did. And his touch could bring the fulfillment of prayers, the willingness to accept there is only love and light around you. Nothing else exists. That is the truth that has been left out of your awareness as you've walked this world, giving everyone different identifications, different circumstances, different stories, different purposes, and grading them in your approval or disapproval of their behaviors or their qualities. Go beyond, way beyond, way beyond any of these mistaken concepts of qualities and talents and behaviors. In order to open your heart and return home, you have to come beyond. You have to be willing to no longer hold evidence of any kind about anything. Even the evidence that seems so benign. Breeds of dogs, breeds of cats, colors of birds, the difference between an acceptable flower and a weed, all the ways that the mind has developed a system that gives worth to success and condemnation to failure. Accept that the success and the failure is all made up in the mind to begin with. It doesn't exist. Would you be giving God a passing grade? A failing grade? A needs improvement grade? Because this is what's going on. And what's not really recognized in this is that that judgment is your pain and suffering. It doesn't come from anywhere else. It's all coming from the mind. And if you want to live in peace, as peace, as harmony, as the truth of this divine being that you truly are, it has to be all let go. All of this judgment. Today I will judge nothing. Imagine that you would have the whole day, the delicious day, a day that would be like vacation. Because today I will not judge. I will judge nothing that occurs or that is seen. I will not have any opinions or judgments about anything. I will not look at anything and assess it as good or bad, right or wrong, more or less. And I will accept that it is all in my mind, and I will be honest today. This will be a glorious day in the schoolroom of love. As I accept that it's all in my mind, and I will not project that painful past into the world today. I will say yes to love today, because love is really all that there is. I will accept and be grateful that all that I thought I knew, thank God, was only ignorance. This is not a condemnation. It's just a recognition that all of that thinking, all of that knowing, all of that judgment, all of those opinions and assessments just was a distraction to love. Love is waiting to be met, to be joined with. But you're not really a multitasker. You can't multitask with love. You can't have assessments and opinions and judgments and approvals and distinguishing between right and wrong and good and bad and likes and dislikes. You can't have that relationship and be in surrender to God. It's not possible. To truly accept, I don't know. I don't know. Really opens such a wide door. Because what you're basically saying with I don't know, not just the words, but the divine intention in your heart. When you open your heart and admit, because it is an admittance, I don't know, love can enter, because there's space has been made. Space has been opened through your willingness, your intention, that you really don't know. What is the secret of happiness? It's not to expect anything. What is it to not expect anything? It truly means you're here. And what is here in this moment is everything. And it is the fulfillment of everything. And there is nothing past that. When you expect something, it's because you're not present here. When you expect something, it's because the mind is engaged and making a story of something that isn't complete here. Something that's missing, something that's needed, something that is, by your mind's estimation, necessary for you to be all right with it. Because you've approved of something, or you've fantasized about something that you believe has worth, and it's not here now. And that it demonstrates how upside down the mind is, because everything is here now. Love is here now. But the mind is so addicted to making outcomes that are believed to be better or to be afraid of, that there's a constant battle going on to try to get the outcome that you think is better. Or if you hold enough doubt and confusion in your mind, you can even anticipate how bad everything's going to be, just to protect yourself from being disappointed in outcomes. The mind is so distorted, the ego is so upside down in its pain and suffering, that nothing that comes from expectations has any value, whether it's a good expectation or a bad expectation. It's an illusion coming from the past, a fantasy. Did you use fantasies in your past life to escape from the belief of hating to be with yourself? Yes. Hating to be in the world that you thought was actually happening when it wasn't happening, except in your own mind, your own perception, your own meaning that you gave it? Yes, that's what expectations are. That's their purpose, is to give you a false sense of control, that you're going to be in charge and have the expectation that you want because it's your decision. And in that you keep bringing the past and living in the past again and again and again. The only expectation that can be of any help is to surrender into the hands of God, into the hands of Spirit, your life and let those expectations be transformed to expect a miracle. To expect only a miracle, meaning I don't know what this should look like because it has nothing to do with how anything looks. It has to do with I'm willing for awareness to come to my mind and cleanse my mind of all of its distortions. I'm willing to see life through the lens of love. I'm willing to see life and live life from the heart center. And the truth that miracles are always present. The light, the grace, the beauty of God is always here. It's whether you are available to it, available to love's light and healing. That's the only expectation to keep in your heart. The yes to love, the yes. That as you want to surrender your concepts of separation and the concepts of living and dying, as you're willing, the miracle is invited to break through the seeming limitations, to break through time, space and time, and to transform, because it's what you truly want. What you truly want. You have heard about God being indivisible. Is that just a rumor? It's the first tiny step to be repeating God is all love, and there is only one. But unless this is lived, there is still the belief in division. It doesn't magically open your heart and eyes to the truth of oneness unless you're willing to extend your heart and refuse the false life of separation. To refuse to see anyone as different, as given a separate identity. How can you possibly have that exquisite heart opening and connection when you've already made up your mind about what you think you know, and you have expectations of what every relationship is for, what every circumstance is for? How can that heal? How can your heart open to the oneness, to the union of love, when there is a program already in place and you are affirming it and you are embracing it with your belief that it's true by living it? God is indivisible. In the truth of this awareness, in the truth of this truth, no one can be different. No one can be less. No one can be more. no one can change the light of that indivisible completeness. It can't be a half-truth. It's just not possible. And truth can't be put aside to have a separate life here and then reach for the truth and pray for this to be different when this is not being surrendered. When the old concepts and habits that have been carried are not being surrendered. Moment to moment. Joyfully, moment to moment. It is joyful because the promise is in the remembering is freedom, peace. And that's what you truly want. Peace. Oh, the ego will tell you you want other things. The ego will tell you that you want satisfaction, you want revenge, you want recognition, you want success in the world. You want to be seen.
Mm-hmm.
You want to be respected. All of these elements are not out there. Respect is to respect that you are the light of God. To respect that you are the exquisite perfection, and that everyone that you believe is separate from you is that perfect perfection of God, and is really truly not separate from you at all. And the mind would say, how can this be? How is it possible that I see bodies? I know what I see. I know what I experience. It has nothing to do with reality. It has nothing to do with love. And everyone has had that moment of recognition where everything is clear. And the recognition of oneness becomes clear. That's not the fantasy. That's the reality. The rest is the fantasy. The belief in the stories and the identifications and the good and the bad, all made up. Still, most live as if there is a difference between God and existence, believing that there are many in town, because slowly we learn. Imagine asking the question, how many live in this town? What's the population? What is that for? What is it for to know the population when you could just say there's one? And that would be the truth. Not 20,000, not 50,000, not 100,000, not a million. One. Not two. One. And that has to be held at the center of every choice, to either affirm love and affirm union, or to have expectations that are made up from the mind that will continue to be painful. All expectations come from fear. They don't look that way. They can look very grand, But they're all coming from fear, because the only reason to have an expectation of something is to try to get control over outcome. There's nothing else. Even the expectation of you pour something to drink and you're already having an expectation of what it's going to taste like. You're already programmed. You believe that you have that right to that expectation, and it's much better if you know what to expect. But that's coming from fear. The fear is you may not like what you drink if you didn't know what it was and what to expect. But there isn't a trust there. It's an attachment to the taste buds and an attachment to the knowing ahead of time and wanting what you like, rather than that everything is love. To truly open to that everything is love. And the more that you surrender the preferences, the more freedom there is. The more you have preferences, the smaller and smaller and smaller your world gets. And what happens then if those things aren't available? Then the fear really comes up, because you've built a world on preferences. And the fear is the body won't get what it wants. And that's the relationship with the body identity. But imagine being free of preferences and expectations and outcomes, and that the fear is gone, because it doesn't matter what happens next, what it looks like. It doesn't matter how it plays out, who shows up, who doesn't show up, what anything looks like, what it means. All of that is made up in the mind. And it all is the cause of the suffering. The only way to step out of that suffering is to recognize where the suffering is coming from. As long as you believe that the suffering is coming from out there, as an effect on you, that you are being affected by something outside you, the suffering will continue, because you haven't recognized the source of the suffering yet. The source of the suffering, the belief in suffering, is coming from the mind of expectations and wanting everything to be as you think it's supposed to be, including everything you taste, everything you see, everything you feel, everything. Your divine light is not in any way dependent on your senses, your likes, your dislikes, and that's all been made up. Why is it that everybody has different ones? Oh, I like dark chocolate. Well, I like milk chocolate. Well, I like chocolate with cherries. Well, I like... Oh, well, you're not right. This is the best. My taste buds tell me so. I know. And in that separation, there is pain and suffering. You read the newspaper headline, dark chocolate has been eradicated. There is no more dark chocolate. The fear comes up. That's what I like. What am I going to do without it? Or it's just tripled in price, and I don't have the money for my fix. This is just one little item. This is just one little thing in this world that you've made of preferences, expectations, likes and dislikes. And the world, that little world, gets smaller and smaller and smaller as you get more and more particular. In the world, they could call that your taste gets refined. You have now a refined taste. We are not accepting of everything as equal, as beautiful, as perfect. You've made this limitation for yourself, and now you have an expectation, and you have to protect that expectation. This is just one little element, but this is how your world is run through your mind and through your belief of protection, because there is, at its core, there is a need for protection in this. It comes from fear. Why is there hoarding of items? Yeah, it's the mind going crazier, but it's not really any crazier than anything. I keep a huge supply of dark chocolate in case the market crashes, in case global warming means there's no more chocolate that I like. And there you are with your garage filled with chocolate, afraid of what the world will do to you when you don't have what your mind has told you are your preferences. Is it a practice? It's a deep practice of letting go. But this touches everything in your life, because you have a fantasy and you have an idea that the senses actually adhere to. The senses, it's all in cahoots. And it's all part of the same thing, of preferences to how people dress, preferences to how people act, preferences to how people behave in any way. In all ways, because the form is being focused on as legitimate, as essential, as real, when the light, the spirit, the divine soul, it is completely camouflaged from your awareness, because your mind is occupied with its knowing, its purpose, and there's no healing there. But all day long you have this exquisite opportunity of saying yes to whatever shows up, and the willingness to put everything into the hands of God, to let everything open to a flow, and not knowing how and what the results and expectations are. There are no expectations, and that all results have no purpose except how they serve remembering. So if, let's say, you decide that you have an expectation that what would be a good expectation? I don't have any expectations. I have to come up with an expectation. Expectation that someone is going to show up at 4 o'clock to repair something. And you hold that in your mind as real. And you have a full expectation that whoever's coming to repair something will be there on time, because you start to get tense if you get a little worried if they're not going to be there on time, and that they will fix whatever it is that needed to be fixed because you have an expectation that it's going to be fixed. You've already planned on it being fixed so that you can have what it is that you think you're supposed to have. This is a control system from the mind that is making a story and an expectation, and if it doesn't come out that way, it's a problem. And the problem is whatever it is that you want to attach to it. I was disrespected. I'm always left behind. I'm always the one that doesn't get their things done that I ask for. People are constantly disappointing me. Whatever the story is, the story will be built, and there will be a belief that there is separation, and there is no possibility of being in the flow of love and opening to, I don't know what anything is for. I don't know how anything should look. It's in the hands of God. I have no idea what this journey is needing to look like for anybody else. I don't know what any of it means. I'm just here in love, offering love, and saying yes to miracles. The miracle is not that the repairman come on time to meet your expectations. That's not the miracle. The miracle is that you accept the flow of love and let that flow of harmony lead you to help all the healing in the world by letting go and letting the grace and flow of love have its way. As soon as you become contracted and have expectations and have a story built into something out of the belief that you're being efficient, or you believe that this is how it should be, or that you planned it that way so it should be that way, you're in suffering. As soon as you've put that on it, there is suffering. Now you may think, he showed up on time, he fixed whatever it was, I'm back on track of what I wanted, and then you believe you're not suffering, but you're still suffering because you've lost the truth and you're in a story that you made up. And it is a guarantee that eventually that story is going to turn around and bite you because it's illusion. You're going to feel you got in control that time, but that control is going to come back and snap at you because there's nothing to control. And there's truly no happiness there. What you will have is a sense of being in control and a sense of satisfaction out of the belief that you had control. And it will end up that you will be disappointed again and again and again because that's not possible. In the reality of love, the only place where love flows is when you let go. Is it possible that you're called to make the appointment for 4 o'clock and Spirit is calling you to make that appointment for 4 o'clock? Yes, absolutely. Does that mean that there is now a rule that comes in from the ego that says, okay, 4 o'clock, then it has to be 4 o'clock? No. It's the allowing that the Holy Spirit gave you 4 o'clock so that whatever flowed, you could keep surrendering. You could keep opening the doorway of love and still not having any expectations and trusting that this is all for your healing. That, oh, The repair person didn't come at 4 o'clock. Well, what a golden opportunity is this? To recognize that God is not divisible, that God is indivisible, and that everything's always in perfection, and that there is a teaching here for me, and I'm so happy to have this opportunity to heal more deeply from my past relationship with expectations. And it's my opportunity, because my temptation of the ego, because now it was supposed to be 4 o'clock and all of a sudden the ego just latches onto 4 o'clock. Like, the rules cannot be broken. 4 o'clock was set, that's what I expected, I've taken it away from the Holy Spirit, it's no longer belongs to the Holy Spirit. It's mine. And I've lost the opportunity of healing. Because I grabbed it back and said, no, I want it thus. I have an expectation. Instead of, what is here for me to learn? Is it to open to deep patience, which is trust that I can never be without? Is it the opportunity to bless the beloved that was supposed to show up at 4 o'clock? To bless this beloved and really see the light and truth of this beloved and let go of what I think 4 o'clock means? Because time has nothing to do with anything anyways? Everything is the opportunity of learning. Everything is the opportunity, because that's the only purpose of time. That's the only holy purpose of time, is remembering and learning. That's all. And once you hook into, you have an expectation, you have an idea of how things should be, it doesn't matter what it's based on. It'll be based on fear. Let's say it's based on, well, it was supposed to be 4 o'clock, and now everybody else that isn't going to be there at 4 o'clock, now they're going to be disappointed, they'll be mad at me, they'll think I'm not efficient, my whole schedule is screwed up. Thank God. That's what the Holy Spirit wanted, was for the entire system to get screwed up, because it doesn't make any difference anyways. It's all fabricated. It could give me this divine opportunity of realizing that all this fear that I generate, and fear comes up as agitation, it comes up as determination to have the rules work, and determination to be right, and determination to be in control. All of that, it's all made up. And it's holding me prisoner, and I don't realize it. Because I'm focused on my agenda and my expectations of outcomes and what they all mean, when it's all made up. This moment is perfect. Every moment is perfect. And it's the opportunity to learn. Show me the way. I don't know. Some ingredient to solving this vital equation may be missing. To really realize that there is only one. It could be the loving touch of someone who knows the truth. To tap into every master and to stop. Everyone is aware of this question that's being used in the world. What would Jesus do?
Mm-hmm.
What would God say? What would God think? What would Shiva do?
Mm.
What would the Blessed Mother do? All divine beings.
Mm.
What would every master do? What would every master think? Would this be a thought? Would Jesus be sitting there looking at his watch, saying, I think this is really rude. I made this appointment for 4 o'clock. Where is it? Where is this person? This person is the beloved. That the only purpose of this person, this beloved, is for you to remember the wholeness of God. They weren't here to repair, except the opportunity to repair your heart. To let go and rest in God. And trust the flow as you put your life in God. Who wouldn't be terribly frightened when you think you're in charge? Absolutely, you'd be terribly frightened. So, if attack is not relinquished entirely, it is not relinquished at all. And with every thought of judgment and opinions, there's an attack going on. But it's a self-attack. It isn't just an attack projected out, of someone not heeding your expectations. But it's a self-attack, because you're telling yourself everything is separate. Everything is a battle. Everything is a difficulty. And none of that is true. There's only love. Nothing else exists in any way, shape, or form. This is the teaching that is the most feared by the ego. I do not know what anything including this means. This means, what this means, this right here, this moment. I don't know what anything means including this. Even this, you can't give any meaning to. Because when you give this your own meaning, it will be an assessment. However subtle it may seem, however unthreatening it seems, it's still an assessment. And what happens when you make an assessment is you close the door. You close the door to the flow of love. To go deeply, deeply, deeply into what is really here in this moment, and not close that door with an assessment of it. You may think that that assessment makes perfect sense to you because that's all that you're doing all the time, is making assessments. Like it, don't like it. But you're not available to the flow of the brilliance that is this moment, to the deep healing that is every moment. I do not know what anything including this means. I don't know how to respond. I don't know how to respond. Boy, that'll stop you. I have no clue how to respond because I'm waiting for the Holy Spirit to lead the way, to light up my path and show me the way. I will not use my own past knowing to lead me now, because you're always being led either by your past knowing or by love and the willingness in this moment to surrender. Surrender and allow and let love lead. There is a beautiful teaching that is extremely simple, that all beloveds who have had addictions in the past have learned to imbibe Let go and let God. Let go and let God.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm. When you let go, you're saying, I'm willing to let God. Have this moment, this situation, this relationship, this life. I surrender. And the more that you allow that in its simplicity, it's a constant letting go. It's a constant letting go, and it's the loving touch of someone who knows the truth is speaking to you. It's the Holy Spirit speaking to you. When you hear that voice of love, let go, let God.
Mm-hmm.
There's a master speaking to you. The voice of love is speaking to you. That's not your old voice. That's choosing the voice of love instead of I know. I don't know. And the truth is that you will never know. The knowing that you have used, that everyone has used in this world, is not the knowing that you will come back to in freedom. You will open to wisdom. You will open to the divine intelligence of the universe, but there won't be a knowing anymore that is dependent on your past for all of its resources. There will be no more knowing of separation. That is actually where all the healing is in the acceptance and opening to the awareness of love's brilliance that flows and doesn't get stored in any way by the brain through fear, but is in the happiness of not knowing. Because there's nothing to hang on to. Nothing to grab from the past, out of the rule book, out of the known book of rights and wrongs. You're giving it all to God. And in that, you start seeing the beloved who lives next door and who sits next to you and drives next to you and lives next to you and in all ways comes to your mind in any way at all. Every beloved, the light of God. Never dependent on their progress in this world. Never dependent on the rights and wrongs of their behaviors, but blessing everyone as the light of God. Right now. Completely. Opening your heart to every beloved, not just cautiously saying, I'm making this up, but embracing every beloved consciously. Opening your heart consciously and offering love, offering blessings, being undefended in the moment, determined in devotion to embrace the light in every beloved, to embrace where in the past you wanted to condemn, you wanted to judge, you wanted to defend in some way. No, no more. I'm here to love. I'm here inviting, embracing, No more closed up life. Opening. It's not about the body, but that divine spirit is bursting through. Opening. And aligning with love. And that's where all the happiness comes from. That choice to be happy that you weren't right. The choice to be happy that you didn't know. Light and joy and peace abide in you. Light and joy and peace is the entire universe. It's just coming home.